Switzerland's biggest bank, UBS, has reached a deal to take over its embattled rival Credit Suisse, or Credit Suisse, I should say, for more than $2 billion. The takeover comes amid fears that an ongoing banking crisis could destabilize the global financial system. Switzerland is preparing emergency measures to fast-track the takeover, and UBS will receive liquidity assistance from the state. The turmoil was unleashed by the collapse of two banks in the U.S. Stephen Beardsley from DW Business joins me now in the studio. Hello, Stephen. So over $2 billion to take over Switzerland's second largest bank. How big a deal is this?
It's a huge deal. This is one of the 30 largest banks in the world. The urgency with which this was done really stands out. This is, from what we understand, more than $2 billion is the deal. To give you a comparison, the market capitalization, that is the total value of all the shares of Credit Suisse on Fridays at close, was $8 billion. So shareholders are going to take a huge loss on this. But they won't get a say in it because part of the deal means that shareholders won't get to vote on the deal. Instead, the two boards for the banks have voted on the deal or will vote on the deal. And again, that shows you the urgency here. Also, this $100 billion credit line that is made available by the Swiss national government, Swiss National Bank, that shows you that they want to help UBS swallow this monster and to do it in Switzerland. That is the big thing here, is that this bank is disassembled in that country because it's also about jobs, not just about the global contagion, but for Switzerland itself, it's about some valuable assets, but also jobs, more than 16,000 in that country. So this was a bit of a shotgun wedding. It's been a bit of a shock for everyone, and we're still trying to understand what it means in all.
Definitely, we're still trying to get this, but there were a lot of fears of a possible financial crisis like what happened in 2008. Now that this deal seems to have gone through, are those fears allayed now?
Well, it's hard to really know. 2008 was a different story in many ways. That was about utterly worthless assets and the great facades that were leveraged off of them. And so when those underlying assets that were worthless were kicked out, everything collapsed. We're not talking about worthless assets here. In many cases, when you look at SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, for example, which helped kick this off, these were based on treasury bills that lost some of their value. This is really psychological. What we're seeing is that once depositors have heard that these banks are losing, then they're running and taking their deposits out. And others, fearing a bank run, are going and doing the same thing. And it's something that you or I might do as well. If we're not sure we're going to get our money back, even if we believe the underlying value of the bank, the fundamentals are okay, we might also want to pull our assets out in fear of a bank run. So it's so psychological that we don't really know what to say about what effect this is going to have on the market. This is one of the world's 30 largest banks. This is probably going to keep going for a while. At least this is going to be a shock, I would say, for the system to digest. And it's unclear how officials are going to handle this, if it's a good idea to make comments, to not make comments. How do you reassure a very jittery market? That's the question that comes out of this.
It's interesting from what you say. So it sounds like good news, but still not really certain if it's going to impact the market.
It's very good news that the governments are willing to act so fast. The regulators are willing to act so fast. And you can see the lessons of 2008 built into that. They're not going to sit around. They're not going to wait. They're going to try and send reassuring messages. But ultimately, when some depositors are not insured and they believe that there could be a bank run, even if they believe that everything with the bank is utterly fine, but they believe that there could be a bank run, they may go and be a part of it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. How do you stop that? That's the big question. So any sort of bank that has shown weakness over the past year, over the past few months, in the next few days, there's going to be a concern that it might kick off something similar. So there's going to be a lot of messaging around this to try and reassure.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see how things go. Stephen Beardsley from DW Business, thank you.
Thank you.